What started as a simple argument between Martell Holt and Marsau quickly turned into one of the most explosive moments reality TV has ever seen. Tension filled the room, voices clashed, and for a split second it looked like fists were about to fly. But here's the twist. This wasn't just about one heated exchange. This was years of rivalry, buried resentment, and unspoken tension finally erupting in front of millions. Fans can't stop debating who's really to blame, and the fallout has shaken the entire reality TV world. Tonight, we're breaking down exactly what went down, what you didn't see on camera, and why this showdown changes everything. Drama reached an all-time high when Martell Holt and Marsau locked eyes, turning a heated argument into a near-physical showdown that had everyone holding their breath. Viewers were stunned as two of reality TV's most polarizing figures clashed, sparking a wildfire across social media. But the real question is who ignited the fire first? What triggered this explosive moment, and why is it already being called one of the most unforgettable scenes in reality TV history? Martell and Marsau have never exactly been strangers to chaos. Their history is littered with fiery arguments, sharp words, and tension that could be cut with a knife. Fans have long known that whenever these two share a room, conflict isn't far behind, but this latest encounter pushed their rivalry to an entirely new level. For weeks, whispers of growing friction had been bubbling online, but no one expected the feud to erupt the way it did. What started as typical reality TV drama quickly spiraled into a showdown that left everyone talking. In this video, we'll break down the explosive confrontation step by step, what led up to the heated exchange, how it almost turned physical in front of stunned witnesses, and the wave of reactions from fans and media that followed. We'll also dive deeper into what this clash reveals about Martell and Marsau's personalities, their true motivations, and why this feud might be far from over. What many thought would be just another reality TV squabble quickly spiraled into a clash that fans will be replaying for years. From the icy stares to the sharp words and even the near edge of physical blows, the drama unfolded in ways no one could have scripted. And here's the twist, this wasn't just about a single moment on camera. Hidden layers, unseen tensions, and unfiltered emotions turned this face-off into something unforgettable. In this breakdown, we'll take you through every shocking second, spotlighting the details you didn't catch on screen, uncovering what was really said, and even exploring how conflicts like this escalate under the unforgiving spotlight of reality television. The fallout has been just as dramatic, with fans fiercely taking sides, celebrities jumping into the conversation, and rumors flying about what really happened once the cameras stopped rolling. But to truly grasp why this showdown between Martell Holt and Marsau hit so hard, we need to rewind. Their rivalry isn't new, it's been simmering for years, fueled by fiery personalities and public confrontations that have kept fans glued to every interaction. Martell, known for his bold charisma and unapologetic attitude, has always commanded attention. Marsau, equally strong-willed, but with his own sharp edge, isn't one to step aside quietly. This latest confrontation wasn't an accident, it was the breaking point of years of unresolved tension, and as we peel back the layers, you'll see why this moment is more than just reality TV. It's a glimpse into pride, rivalry, and the high-stakes world of unscripted drama. Marsau, equally unyielding and outspoken, has built a reputation for charging headfirst into conflict, often escalating tensions rather than cooling them down. When two dominant personalities like his and Martell Holt's operate within the same circle, sparks are bound to fly. Their tension runs deeper than just one argument, it's rooted in years of personal and professional clashes. What began as small disputes over business ventures, friendships, and relationships gradually snowballed into something much larger. Fans who followed their journey remember the pointed remarks, the side glances, and the subtle jabs exchanged in past seasons, tiny sparks that hinted at the inevitable explosion. Social media only poured gasoline on the fire. Tweets, posts, and even sly subtweets didn't just document their rivalry, they amplified it. Fans dissected every comment, turning even the smallest disagreement into trending debates and viral memes. It became less about the show itself and more about anticipating when these two would finally erupt. Even producers and cast members knew the powder keg they were sitting on. Behind the cameras, there were constant whispers about how hard it was to keep both men in the same space without tensions boiling over. To them, it wasn't a matter of if a major blow-up would happen, it was when at the core of their feud was more than just petty drama, was about leadership, respect, and personal boundaries. Both Martell Holt and Marsau Scott carried strong opinions on these issues, and when two men with such uncompromising views collide, sparks are almost guaranteed. For years, they managed to keep a thin layer of professionalism in public. On talk shows, group gatherings, and formal events, they kept their composure. But the tension was always there, simmering just beneath the surface. Viewers could feel it: the uneasy silence, the side comments, the energy that suggested something bigger was waiting to erupt. Every joint appearance became a ticking clock, and fans were just waiting for the moment it would finally explode. What made things even more volatile was the storm brewing around their personal lives. Both men were juggling complicated relationships, the constant microscope of public attention, and the relentless pressure of reality TV. With rivalry, pride, and fame all in the mix, the stage was set for an inevitable clash. When the confrontation finally happened, it wasn't just about the argument at hand. Insiders say it started over something small, an issue that, in isolation, might have seemed trivial. But in the context of years of resentment and unresolved conflict, that small spark became the final straw. This was where professional competition, personal pride, and public scrutiny collided, igniting one of the most explosive moments in reality TV history. And to truly understand why this showdown shook so many people, you have to look at the history that made it unavoidable. The confrontation between Martell Holt and Marsau Scott didn't just rattle fans because of what happened in the moment. It was the release of years of buried tension, unspoken resentment, and competitive pride finally boiling over. This wasn't simply an argument, it was the eruption everyone had been sensing was inevitable. The day it happened will go down as one of the most dramatic and nerve-wracking episodes in reality TV. What began as a seemingly routine gathering quickly spiraled into an atmosphere so charged that cast, crew, and viewers alike felt the weight of every second. To understand why it struck so hard, let's rewind to how it all unfolded. From the start of the group discussion, friction was in the air. Disagreements over authority, leadership, and personal boundaries had already been simmering beneath the surface. The moment Martell and Marsau entered the room, their energy told a story on its own. Observers noticed it immediately: the tight jaws, the locked stares, and the subtle body language that carried more meaning than words. Every gesture, every tone of voice, seemed sharper than usual because the tension had been building for months. The first sparks ignited when the conversation turned toward respect and authority. Martell, always firm about voicing his boundaries, went head-to-head with Marsau, whose confrontational style thrives on direct challenges. What followed was less of a debate and more of a verbal battlefield, one that edged dangerously close to becoming physical. What could have been a simple debate between colleagues quickly spiraled out of control as neither Martell Holt nor Marsau Scott was willing to back down. Their words clashed like weapons, voices overlapping, sharp retorts cutting each other off, and an energy in the room so charged it felt almost tangible. Other cast members and crew couldn't ignore it. Some cautiously tried to step in, hoping to cool the fire, while others chose to stay back, realizing this was a confrontation only these two could face. The cameras captured it all, not just the words, but the raw emotion, the clenched fists, the intensity in their eyes, and the heavy silence between each exchange that made the tension even more gripping. When fans later watched the footage, many described it as nothing short of electric. The suspense reached its breaking point when Martell and Marsau stood just inches apart, their voices raised, gestures sharp, and tempers ready to erupt. For a split second, it looked like the standoff would turn physical. That's when crew members had to step in, moving quickly between the two men to stop the conflict from crossing the line. Still, the scene left its mark. The sweat on their brows, the heavy breathing, and the sheer force of their personalities colliding made for one of the most intense reality TV moments ever broadcast. What made this encounter especially unforgettable was the sheer openness of it all. Unlike their previous, more subtle clashes, this time the confrontation was raw, unfiltered, and witnessed by everyone in the room and later, by millions watching from home. In that moment, every eye in the room locked onto Martell and Marsau, intensifying the pressure and magnifying every word, every gesture. This wasn't just about an argument, it was about pride, respect, and the invisible lines of personal boundaries. The fallout was immediate. As soon as clips surfaced online, social media went into overdrive. Fans dissected the footage frame by frame, debating who was really at fault. reading into every glance and movement, and speculating on what exactly pushed the confrontation to the edge. Analysts weighed in, too, pointing out how the very nature of reality television, where personalities are amplified and tension thrives, creates the perfect pressure cooker for explosive clashes. And while viewers saw the fireworks unfold on screen, what many didn't realize was that the explosion had been building long before the cameras started rolling. Sources close to the cast revealed that both men had already reached an emotional breaking point. Years of small grudges, professional rivalry, and unspoken resentment had been festering, waiting for the right spark to ignite. That night simply provided the stage. Even after crew members managed to defuse the situation before it turned physical, the atmosphere was heavy with leftover tension. Cast members described the air as electric, still buzzing long after the shouting stopped. Insiders confirmed that both Martell and Marsau needed time away to cool down and reflect on what had just unfolded. Though the confrontation ended without violence, it left a lasting impression, one that forced conversations about respect, boundaries, and accountability in high-pressure environments. What made this moment unforgettable wasn't just the clash itself, but the years of rivalry and unspoken tension that gave it such explosive weight. What made this confrontation unforgettable wasn't just the shouting or the near-physical clash, it was the raw emotion on display. Fans weren't simply watching a fight, they were witnessing two strong-willed men wrestle with pride, vulnerability, and the messy realities of human conflict under the spotlight. And while the cameras eventually stopped rolling, the story was far from over. The aftermath spilled beyond the set, flooding social media, news outlets, and fan forums. This wasn't just another dramatic moment, it became a cultural flashpoint in the world of reality TV. Almost instantly, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok lit up with reactions. Clips of the standoff spread like wildfire, shared thousands of times with captions ranging from disbelief to diehard support for one side or the other. Hashtags tied to the feud began trending, and debates erupted about who was responsible, who crossed the line, and how dangerously close things came to turning violent. The response was staggering. Fans weren't just watching passively, they were actively dissecting body language, replaying moments frame by frame, and arguing passionately. In comment sections, analysts and media outlets jumped in, offering breakdowns of what the clash revealed about the personalities, the pressures of reality TV, and the fine line between entertainment and real-life volatility. The showdown between Martell Holt and Marsau didn't just shake a room, it sent shockwaves through an entire community of viewers, cementing itself as one of the most talked about and dissected moments in recent reality television history. As the dust settled, the internet took over. Memes, reaction videos, and endless commentary threads flooded social media. Some fans praised both men for their intensity and passion, admiring the honesty and refusal to back down. To them, the confrontation felt like a rare, unfiltered glimpse into who Martell and Marsau really are beyond the polished TV image. But not everyone saw it that way. Others criticized the near-violent turn the clash almost took, questioning whether either man could have de-escalated the situation before it reached that boiling point. Conversations about accountability, respect, and personal boundaries dominated online spaces, showing how the feud sparked not just emotional reactions, but deeper analysis as well. Reality TV analysts quickly weighed in, pointing out that this was a textbook example of how high-pressure environments fuel conflict. Strong-willed personalities, already carrying unresolved baggage, tend to escalate fast when stress is high. Experts in conflict resolution echoed the sentiment, noting that reality TV naturally amplifies emotions, turning tense disagreements into dramatic moments that feel larger than life. Behind the scenes, insiders revealed that the production team wasn't entirely caught off guard. Weeks of subtle jabs and growing hostility hadn't gone unnoticed. Sources say producers had been quietly preparing for the possibility of an eruption, even briefing crew members to keep a close eye on interactions and to be ready with safety measures if things got out of hand. This added layer of behind-the-scenes awareness only deepened the intrigue because, while fans were shocked by what they saw unfold, those closest to the show knew they had been sitting on a ticking time bomb all along. The behind-the-scenes revelations gave fans a whole new perspective on how reality TV is really made. What looked like an explosive, unscripted clash was, in reality, carefully monitored by producers who constantly juggle unpredictable personalities and volatile dynamics, ensuring chaos never spirals completely out of control. Online debates also shifted to the bigger picture: what this showdown meant for Martell and Marsau's reputations. Supporters of Martell praised his assertiveness and his refusal to compromise on principle, framing him as someone who stands tall under pressure. Meanwhile, Marsau was admired for his boldness and confidence, with fans applauding the fact that he wouldn't be intimidated and stood his ground. Both men, in their own way, became symbols in a larger conversation about leadership, ego, and the delicate balance of power in conflict. But the drama didn't stay confined to social media. Post-show interviews, podcasts, and insider discussions began to surface, peeling back more layers of the story. Co-stars revealed that the tension had been simmering much longer than viewers realized. Every look, every subtle comment, every charged silence in previous episodes suddenly seemed like foreshadowing, making the explosive showdown feel almost inevitable. What made this fallout especially fascinating was the way it opened broader conversations. Fans and experts alike debated what healthy boundaries look like in high-stress environments, how ego clashes should be managed, and when intervention is necessary. The incident became more than drama. It became a case study in human behavior and the mechanics of reality television itself. Some viewers even took a psychological approach, analyzing the underlying motivations at play. Was this about pride? About respect? About validation? Many argued it was all three, with each element fueling the fire until it reached a breaking point. By dissecting the deeper emotional layers, audiences gained insight into not just the conflict itself, but into the raw human dynamics that made it so captivating. And yet, one question still lingers. What happens next? Will Martell and Marsau ever find common ground, or has this feud crossed a line that can't be repaired? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear: the fallout from this confrontation has already reshaped how fans see both men, and it's left an indelible mark on the world of reality TV. The ripple effects of this showdown are only just beginning. Beyond the fiery exchange itself, fans are now wondering how it might reshape Martell and Marsau's relationships with the rest of the cast. Could it alter future storylines, impact upcoming interviews, or even spill into social media feuds? The audience knows one thing for sure: this story is far from finished, and the fallout is still unfolding in real time. What makes this clash so captivating is not just the argument, but everything it set into motion. Social media trends, fan debates, industry analysis, and the shifting narratives of both Martell Holt and Marsau Scott are all part of its legacy. By looking at both the immediate reactions and the longer-term consequences, it becomes clear why this confrontation struck such a chord and continues to dominate the reality TV conversation. And here's the twist: while fans see the public fireworks, insiders suggest that behind closed doors, even more dramatic revelations may be surfacing. Private conversations, unseen strategies, and hidden maneuvers are said to be shaping how both men navigate the aftermath. What's on camera, it seems, is only a fraction of the drama actually playing out. In truth, this wasn't just a headline outburst. It was a case study in human behavior under pressure. The feud revealed how ego, pride, and the unwillingness to back down can collide in ways that are both fascinating and volatile. One key takeaway: strong personalities in high-stakes environments are both a gift and a curse. Martell and Marsau's confidence and refusal to compromise have fueled their success, but when two equally strong-willed figures clash, the sparks are almost inevitable. The simmering tensions and unresolved grievances between them finally boiled over, producing the kind of raw drama that hooks an audience worldwide. Another lesson lies in the way they handled the heat. Both men were visibly frustrated and emotionally charged, but they managed to pull back just enough to stop things from turning physical. That moment underscored the importance of emotional regulation even when pride is at stake, and the world is watching. Interestingly, the fact that neither Martell nor Marsau allowed the argument to spiral into a full-blown brawl speaks volumes. Their restraint, though partly enforced by the presence of producers and mediators, showed that both men understood the weight of consequences. It's a reminder that even in moments of heated emotion, self-control and boundary setting can mean the difference between temporary conflict and permanent damage to relationships. Another valuable takeaway is the role of communication, or rather, the lack of it. Years of unresolved frustrations and unspoken disagreements created a powder keg that was bound to explode. Had these issues been addressed earlier through honest dialogue, the confrontation may never have reached such an extreme. The situation highlights a universal truth: transparency and open conversation are essential for preventing conflicts from escalating. whether in friendships, workplaces, or high-pressure settings like reality TV. The clash also shines a light on the psychology of rivalry. Both Martell and Marsau carry competitive spirits that drive their successes, but that same competitiveness intensifies their conflicts. Their reactions, whether in asserting dominance or responding to perceived disrespect, illustrate how rivalry can magnify emotions, twist perceptions, and transform small slights into dramatic showdowns. Under the glare of cameras and public scrutiny, those dynamics only become more explosive. Another layer lies in the balance between public persona and private reality. As reality TV figures, Martell and Marsau must juggle personal pride with the expectations of viewers, castmates, and producers. Their behavior during the confrontation revealed this tension. The heat of the moment pushed them toward escalation, but the awareness of being on camera pulled them back from going too far. In many ways, their restraint wasn't just personal, it was also strategic. Finally, beyond the entertainment value, this moment carried an unexpectedly educational weight. Fans, commentators, and even conflict resolution experts point to the incident as a real-world case study in accountability, emotional regulation, and the art of by unpacking what happened. Audiences walk away with lessons that extend beyond the show, lessons about empathy, managing disagreements, and standing firm without letting ego drive the outcome. The clash between Martell Holt and Marsau highlights more than just a heated reality TV moment. It underscores the power of audience perception in shaping the narrative itself. Fans didn't just watch. They judged, debated, and took sides, turning a personal disagreement into a public spectacle. That constant scrutiny adds another layer of pressure for reality TV personalities, who must balance authentic emotions with the awareness that every word, gesture, and reaction will be dissected. Navigating that dual arena requires not only emotional intelligence and self-awareness, but also the ability to think strategically under the weight of public opinion. What's remarkable, however, is the resilience both men showed. Despite the intensity of their confrontation, Martell and Marsau regained composure and continued with their lives and careers, a testament to their ability to adapt, learn, and preserve relationships even after explosive disagreements. Their showdown also serves as a reminder of just how unpredictable human behavior can be. Even in environments designed for control, emotions, personal history, and clashing personalities can erupt into unforgettable drama. Yet behind the memes and trending clips lies something deeper, a chance for growth. Insiders suggest that Martell and Marsau may be using this experience not as a wedge but as a way to recalibrate their interactions and strengthen mutual understanding. If so, the conflict could transform into an opportunity for better communication, healthier boundaries, and unexpected personal development. That's what makes this story so compelling. It isn't just about rivalry, it's about resilience, strategy, and the complex human realities of life under the spotlight.